Okay, folks, good morning. Happy Saturday. And we need to do a cleanup session because we have so many things on the table right now. And some of the things that we airbrushed yesterday, if you didn't catch our airbrush session, this is what you missed out on. Did it a lot longer than I actually planned. It ended up being about 3 hours, and it went really well. A couple hiccups, but to be expected, and we were able to get everything functioning like it was supposed to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these. Let's see, I got a little container for these, don't I? Over here. We're going to finish them soon, but what I really want to do is set the filter, because that's really kind of going to determine the speed of everything else. Let's just get these guys out of the way for the time being. We'll move the Panzer I over here as well, and the Japanese tank. And this. Let's clear this stuff out of the way. And the armored car. All right, let's get these things out of the way. Over onto the other section. Okay. All right, super glue can leave. Super glue has left the building. And what do we got left? Some readers that we don't need right now because we've got our contacts out. You don't need super readers when you've got supervision. Yeah, I can't work with this much stuff everywhere. Constantly distracted and pulled off task. Especially there's a lot of stuff I'm going to pull out of here. Just trying to be efficient. When you're airbrushing, you don't want to do just a few things. I'd put off actually sealing those extra pieces for the T26 for so long that other things accumulated for me to do with airbrushing as well. So I went ahead and knocked all that stuff out. Let's get rid of all these little bits. Bits and bobs. All right. Still another one? Oh, wait. All right, that's enough clarity. All right, so these are the things that we ended up airbrushing yesterday. Some of them were base black, and some of them went ahead and did the Dunkelgelb stuff because we got some krauts in here, late war krauts. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and sort this stuff. Here is a Panther, and we did a little bit of modulation in here. Nothing major because I'm still gonna put a filter on top of it. And we're still going to camouflage and dry brush on top of that. So we can go ahead and pull them off of these things, though, off the alligator clips. And one of the turrets for the Panzer III-M. You always see pictures of Panzer III-Ms at Kursk. And it seemed like every unit that had Panzer IIIs or Panzer III-Ms, they only made 250 of these. So most of those that you see that are Panzer IIIs with side skirts are in fact L's, which they made in the 1000 plus, that have been retrofitted with additional armor. Yes, that turned out really nice. And then we've got some SU-76s, which we will dry brush the green standard. There's no point airbrushing them. The only reason I airbrush the yellow is because the Dunkelgelb is because that's hard to get it to stick to the black. But why do you even use black to begin with? That's what I do. If I miss a spot, it's all the way in the dark recesses of something, and it's not poking me in the eye looking at it. Hard to unsee that kind of stuff. Let's go ahead and let's try to be orderly a little bit. Just take all these small brushes, drop them in here. And that's now Alligator Cliplandia. There we go. The ugly duckling of the Panzerwaffe. Panzer IIIN. I don't know, it might be your favorite tank. It's not mine. Stug, which is very heavy compared to the other ones. Herr Brumba, and the other Panther. All right, we can go ahead and pull these pieces that we finally sealed out. Now, you know what? I'll leave them in there. We know they're in there. When we go and base the T-26, we'll put them in the over there. So right now, the priority is filter these jokers. So we're going to do the wash on these. Then while the wash is drying, we're going to go back and then we'll do the green on the Soviets. And maybe I should do it the other way around. That way we can wash all the things at once. Yeah, let's filter the Germans first. All right, so we're gonna go grab a filtery brush, and I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm actually not gonna apply it directly onto the tank. I'm going to apply it on something else. And then we will brush it on there. And what is that something else going to be? I'm going to go ahead and use this little container right here. It's got the water from the decals. I'm going to pour that in my cup that has the water from the brushes. Then I am the worst about taking the brushes out. I leave them in here. Hey, I can't be great at everything. I'm not good at this. But I'm also not using brushes that, I'm losing any sleep over. They're being destroyed when I'm dry brushing them anyway, so. Am I really doing that much more damage to them? Well, let's get all these brushes that have been violated out of here. I'm going to see if I can get the lighting in that airbrushing station a little bit better next time I airbrush, or just do it in the daytime. In the daytime, it's fine. I'm lighting for you guys, not for me. I see just fine. That area is great for me. I'm really happy with the setup in this new house. Out here in the country. It's not like it's a dirt road or anything. The only thing I don't have in here is I didn't bring the hand sanitizer back yet. I don't think I'm going to need it just yet. We'll leave it be. We'll leave it be. Let's, this is a good place today. Off here to the side. All right. So we're still going to use the same brush. We're going to put it in this container. We're gonna apply the wash in here as we go. Now I'm gonna need an area that I can stack this stuff in. I'm not gonna get all this juice. All over my cutting table that I don't cut on. So let's grab another one of these. And we're gonna put it over here. I love this material, and it's free. And you can buy it at Hobby Lobby if you don't have somebody to give it to you for free, but why spend money on something when you don't need to? All right, so we're probably gonna need a couple of these. Let's lose the glasses. And let's start with Le Stughi. Don't know that I'm going to be able to use it with this. This is very, very heavy. The center is resin, but the tracks are white metal, and it feels like it's solid metal. Strong tone from Army Painter. I know I could make this stuff myself, but they always tell me at work, you should delegate some stuff. I said, okay, well, I've delegated making this stuff to the people that make it. Wish I could delegate having somebody else go to work and I'll stay here and paint with you guys. I don't know how I'm going to paint this thing yet. Probably some kind of 3-color camouflage, I would imagine. We don't have to worry about those things now. So the nice thing is this is another layer that protects the base color from chipping, etc. Doesn't hurt. I think the last time that I airbrushed, not last night, I didn't encounter any issues. So I did encounter some issues yesterday, so you guys got to see that. But as I mentioned several times last night, I'm never going to be an airbrushing guru. I'm just not that interested. I got better. I did some things I'd never did before. I mean, I know what to do. It's just a matter of doing it and experience. And as I like to say, is when you're hand painting something, you kind of get an idea after you've done it for so many years. You get an idea when things are going sideways. I get an idea when you're in this stage of the game, and it's not going to turn out the end result like you had planned. So you could start making the changes at the beginning of your process, and not go almost 90% through the painting. Go, man, this is not going to turn out how I thought it was going to. And you can only gain that stuff by experience and realize that, oh, okay, this may not look how I expect it to look right now, but have faith. It it'll turn around later. Or this is not going well. We need to punt. So that just comes with experience. Okay, we're going to need one of these. There we go. Okay, Stoogie down. I had so many things out there, I forgot to finish up the Hummel and the Vespa. Oh, we'll do the self-propelled artillery a little later. We got to leave something for later. Now this has the bouncy ass tracks. I don't know if I should have glued those down now. I know how I'm going to go about this. Keep it down. Let's just apply the filter now. We're in filter mode. This vehicle has the issue. The Hummel has the issue, and the Vespa has the issue. These rubber band tracks, and it's not always the rubber band tracks. It just happens to be these rubber band tracks. They're extremely boingy. They have a lot of bounce back to them. But that Panzer IV that I did was a problem. And we were able to silence that joker. And I thought it turned out pretty well. Good morning, Ben. Welcome back. Good, now you're on my sleep schedule. Just keep to my schedule and you'll be on anytime. You'll be available anytime I need you. So the Panzer IIIs in particular had some pretty intense modulation that I've never done before with this filter thing. So we will see if this is all compatible or I'm wasting my time doing that modulation now ahead of time, because we're going to cover it with a filter. But if I had sat here, I told my wife, I said, if I had sat here and tried to do 3 hours here at the end of a work day, at the end of a work week, there's no way I would have made it. But somehow, I kept going for the whole 3 hours last night. So it was super helpful. And we're going to do the camouflage out there either. It's not bad. All I got to do is take the computer, move the computer out there, microphone, and the power cord. That's it. And the area is set up over there. So got to make it easy to film in order to get it filmed. Things start becoming too much trouble. You're like, I don't want to do that. It's just pain in the ass. I get too much pain in the ass Monday through Friday. Okay, and the Brummie's done. All right, who's up next? Let's go ahead and do the Panthers. Panthers at Kursk. One of the more attractive vehicles of the Second World War. Just look how much better it would look if it didn't have those N11 road wheels, which I'm not a fan of. And neither was anybody who had to change one of them out. But I'm sure they needed to do something like that for this 45-ton vehicle that really should have been 35-ton. By the tracks, we don't care about the tracks at this point. Okay. And the other one. These two are kits by Zvezda. Yeah, I know I've got that wire that's loose. We'll epoxy that bitch down. The problem with these kits is that they do not give you the option for having the top hatch open. So there's no hatches on these Panzer 4Ds open. But I already knew that by exploring scale mates. And if I was building a non-Kursk period one, I would cut these the fenders down because they have the original long fenders. A lot of vehicles did that. Like they came out of the factory with long fenders, and you get to the field and like, well, we got to get rid of that shit. That's just going to be a problem. They did it on Shermans. I'm sure they did it on other vehicles, but the Shermans are the ones that actually really stand out as being having all that extra pieces of sheet metal that they're like, we need to get rid of this stuff before it's going to get stuck in the tracks or somewhere. Doesn't really provide any kind of purpose other than somebody at the factory probably saying, you know, just some designer saying, what, so you don't get your tank all dirty? Good thing I got several bottles of this stuff. Yeah, this side skirt is loose too. Also, if I wasn't doing one at Kursk, I wouldn't put this little side skirt. This is another thing that kind of went away after a while. Looks good on paper, but in reality, it just ended up creating problems for the crew. Okay, the two turrets. Pretty soon I'll get the, well, it shouldn't be on there. What rules are you using for all these vehicles? I said, well, all these vehicles won't be on the playing field at the same time. You'll be lucky to hit 3 of them at the same time. And it's just like the people that build models in 1/35th scale. They're never going to use their vehicles in battle. It's just a model. Here we have a chance of possibly using it in a battle, but certainly not going to use all these at once. And the fact that you can see the brush marks doesn't really matter. I just want to make sure that we got some of this darkening everywhere. A good name for a movie, The Darkening. Sounds like there should already be a movie named that. All right. Let's do the same thing with the turrets for the Panzer IIIs. It would use an extended version of the tanning bed scene from Final Destination 2. I've never seen the Final Destination movies. I'm just guessing that the Final Destination movies are just. I know the plot is that people are trying to cheat death, right? But it just seems like it falls in those categories of let's have bad shit happen to these pretty girls, and I kind of have a problem with that. Oh, come on, man! Don't be doing that. Ooh, I've been playing with Minwax, and I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me. I don't. I don't like bad things happening to people that don't deserve it. If they deserve it, oh yeah, execute them in cool ways, but not innocent people, and not because they're innocent and attractive. I don't know. It just seems like kind of the. I haven't watched any of them. I know it's kind of you can't cheat death. Okay, well, dying in bad ways too. Decapitation. That's not bad. And I've seen all the Saw movies. Okay, and those people didn't deserve to die for what they did, but that doesn't bother me because if that's the people you're going after, I'm not even close. People that have like stolen everybody's money with false things. Like, yeah, I don't do shit like that. I live a pretty honorable life. Where is this? Is that Mr. Marcus or Jeffrey? All I see is pink. Jeffrey! Final Destination was pretty predictable. Everybody dies. How many have they made? Like 4 of them? Isn't that like a teeny bopper movie? What are you doing watching those things, Jeffrey? Final Destination. Does anybody make it from one to the other one? Final Destination film franchise. 5 films. Who's in this? Stifler's in this? Yeah, I haven't seen any of these movies. Yeah, I don't want to see shit with roller coasters. The next thing you know, I get apprehensive about riding them, and I'm a badass when it comes to riding roller coasters. I ain't scared of them. I don't need to start that shit. I'm already scared of planes. I don't. That's good enough for me. I don't like getting on aircraft without watching those movies. I'll skip those. I got nobody to watch those kind of movies with. My wife isn't going to watch those movies. She's a chicken shit about just about everything. I made her watch the Pearl Harbor a long time ago when she just couldn't stop crying. I'm like, what the fuck are you crying about? I think I saw 4. The last one you saw involved a movie theater. Yeah, they must have. They fund some movies, and I swear it's like a way for them to like launder money. Because some movies you look at it, I'm like, why would somebody even? It's like you did read the plot. Why would you make a movie about this? Are you gonna plan on losing money? I don't know. Well, Hollyweird is all doing drugs, so maybe that explains it. I saw a trailer finally of. I'm not into superhero movies, and I've stopped watching them. I watched them with my daughter, and they're pretty stupid. I wasn't really into superheroes as a kid. I never read comic books, any of that stuff. But I was a fan of the 2 Deadpool movies, and I finally saw a trailer for the third, or part of a trailer for the third, and I'm like, I probably not even gonna watch it. I mean, this alternate reality and universe kick that they're on, like, it makes my head hurt, man. I don't do that kind of drugs for that bullshit, you know? Those damn movies that are all linked with each other, and one movie links with the other one. And if you watch Scarlet Witch, there's this one part that's 5 minutes long that ties that into the other. I'm like, I'm not watching those movies a second time, and I'm not going to catch all those little wrinkles. You know, I'm not interested in that. And all of those movies, there's superhero movies, and then there's like everything they make is like way over the top, like just ridiculous. And I'm like, I'd rather not watch that stuff. I was watching them because my daughter was into them when she was younger, and we just kind of got in the habit of watching them going to the movie theater. But I don't really even see a purpose in going to a movie theater anymore. It's really expensive, and most movies suck. They're not very good. So I'd rather have a couple cocktails than go to the movie theater. Okay, that's done. All right. Getting to the bottom of this. Let's see how we're gonna. Let's go ahead and put the. Uh-oh. The front barrel of the Panther fell. What the hell? Well, we're gonna leave it be. We're gonna touch it and we're just gonna mess that up. But I guess it got deglued. I remember the last time went to the movie theater and saw a movie and I was like, damn, that was good. It was in the 80s. Get that filter down in there. Yeah, I thought that was like a teeny bopper movie. Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't need to see movies where things go sideways on a roller coaster. I saw a program or an article or something like that said that the safest roller coasters in the world are in Florida. And it makes sense because if you have one that goes sideways, people don't come to your park. You know, nobody wants to come to a park and, get mauled. And we have a lot of roller coasters in Florida. And that's fine if you don't do roller coasters. But don't be one of those people that like gets on an aircraft and isn't worried about it and goes to horror movies and isn't worried about it. But then you won't go on roller coasters. Because roller coasters are fucking fun. As long as they don't beat you to death. Now, I don't remember if I gave it a dry brush afterwards and then did the airbrushing, or if we did the airbrushing next and then did the dry brush. I think I probably dry brushed over them in places first and then did that's how we're going to do. We're going to do testing on one. We're probably going to take something that's easy to replace and not going to cover as much detail, like the Stug. We'll do the Stug first to get back in the habit. I don't remember. It's been so long since I did one of these Kraut vehicles. Not really. It's been about a year. But I've done a lot of vehicles since then. I've done probably 60 or 70 vehicles since then. So there's like something in there. There we go. Yeah, I think fixing that little spot turned out okay. There's a spot there on the top of that applique armor, the extra bolt on armor, that just didn't sit well. It had like this notch that was just a something wrong in the molds. I used to think, oh man, these guys, this stuff is really well researched, but sometimes there's a problem with the originals of whatever it is that you're doing. I remember when I was still buying GHQ ships, they had just came out with a model of, it's a World War I light cruiser. I want to say it's the Breslau. Well, they came out with it, and I look at it, and the thing is like so freaking long. I'm like, this can't be right. And it seems like they got the length of the ship wrong. I don't know if they went back and fixed that, but it looked really out of place. But that was pre-internet. And now I'd be like, I'd post on a Facebook site or something like that. Like, what up with this? You know? What up with this? Or the Pilau. No, not the Pilau. Pilau's got funny smokestacks. I gotta see what ship it is. That's gonna bug the hell out of me. It's like the first German light cruise that they made for the World War I range. They've done several since then, but GHQ miniatures. Let's go to the menu. All products, Micronauts, 12400 Great War. And let's filter by Germany. View results. To make a Zeppelin? Wow. And they had a lot of stuff on there. I want to say it's the Magdeburg. The Magdeburg is over length. Or at least the model that I got back then. I mean, it was like a half inch too long. It's a Magdeburg, which is a Breslau. Yeah, Magdeburg was the one that got mined at the very beginning of the war, and then the Brits got the signal books and basically knew whenever the Germans were taking a dump, the Brits showed up with tea and crumpets. They were already there. Yeah, that was the first one that they built for them. They've added these other ones since then. Karlsruhe. Yeah, Wiesbaden. They didn't have Wiesbaden when I was doing World War. Or is it the Elbing? No, I'm pretty sure it's the Magdeburg. The Magdeburg is too long, their model. Yeah, it's in this small class, and you could use it for the Breslau, and the Breslau was the one that accompanied Goeben to the Mediterranean, and ended up being in Turkish service with a German crew. Magdeburg, that was hit a mine somewhere near Russia at the beginning of the war, and the Russians go, "You want this, comrade?" to the Brits. And the other two, I forget which one it was, but I had mine painted as one of the other two. I don't need to build I don't need to build a model of it's like if you're doing the British Navy in World War II, you don't need to have a model of the Courageous. That's a courage, right? It's the Courageous that was like torpedoed, or I need to make the Royal Oak. What the hell for, man? It was like survived like freaking couple weeks and then it went down. You don't need to model the Royal Oak. The Royal Oak got cut down to size. If I'm designing ships, I want to make ship models that survived the war, or were in the most amount of actions of anything else. Not something that only made it, a couple months or something like that. I mean, even something like Blucher. Oh, here's my 6 o'clock alarm. Yes, I'm already awake. Okay. The 6 o'clock, something like Blucher, got sunk at Dogger Bank. Dogger Bank is, 1914 wasn't a full year. And Dogger Bank is like in the beginning of 1915. So even that's not a very useful ship. Armored cruiser Rune. That's another one that got sunk. Rune might have even been sunk in 1914. That was one of those that they did a raid on the British coast. And they got spotted or something, turned around, and Rune hit a mine on the way back. It might have even been in 1914. If you ever hear about. The only armored cruisers you hear about is Scharnhorst and Gneisenau. And those guys were sunk really early in the war as well. So they make a lot of models, like they'll say, hey, we're going to get into this, whatever figure manufacturer is, we're going to get into making these ships. And the first ones they come out with is ones that don't have a really long longevity. I mean, the Battle of Falklands Islands isn't worth playing. I mean, it's as one-sided as I'd say it's even more one-sided than the final battle with Bismarck. Bismarck, it gets, with the faulty rudder against Rodney and King George V, and the two cruisers, is more balanced than Battle of Falkland Islands. Battle of Falkland Islands is just like you're hosed. It's just one of those ironic things, You got the Battle of Falkland Islands. That German squadron was commanded by von Spee, and who in the following war had the pocket battleship named after him and was sunk in the same part of the world. Irony. The other ironic thing is the admiral that's on one of the British battle cruisers, I want to say it's the Invincible. Invincible blew up. It's invincible, yet it blew up at Jutland. And the commander of that one, or the admiral that was on there, I believe his last name was Hood. And then the next war, a ship named Hood blows up. Like, you got to stay away from shit like that. It's like, what happened in the last war? Is anything weird happened? Because I don't have anything to do with being on any of those particular vessels that's going to pop. Yeah, Invincible blew up and split in two pieces. That was the one that was. And I watched a video on, I want to say the Discovery Channel or something like that. And it was something like a video where they used like computer graphics to like, they went to sites where ships had sunk and they took away all the water. And man, if we could do that for real, that would be cool. That would be really cool. But yeah, Jutland, the North Sea there is not very deep. I mean, I was surprised how not deep it was. How undeep it was. We need a thinner filter on this. There we go. And it looks like there's some streaking, but none of that's going to show up when we're done dry brushing. It's like 300 feet or something like that. You know, then you got Bismarck at 12,000 feet. Like, that's a big difference. Did you ever find the hood? I want to say they did. And then they got the Repulse and the Prince of Wales when they got sunk from Force Z. They're like in only a couple 100 feet of water, and they were so shallow. A lot of the stuff had been cannibalized off them. I didn't find out about that until recently. Went and stole a bunch of stuff off of them. There's one of the sites that I go to on Facebook. I want to say it's Naval Historia. I could be wrong. But they're always talking about, you know, the last one that reminded me is this. It was this picture of the American aircraft carrier, the Oriskany. Now that I learned how to say that, I always would have thought it was Oriskany, but I don't live anywhere near New York, so we don't know what the hell the name of that thing is. But the Oriskany was sunk as an artificial reef. And, you know, people comment on it like, oh, that's great, finally putting things to good use. And I just think it's kind of shitty to pollute the earth with more freaking metal. You know, like make the reef out of something else. I'm all for making artificial reefs, but really, do we need more sunken ships at the bottom of our freaking ocean? I mean, there's enough of them already. Just seems polluty. Man, making the earth look ugly. I'm not worried about saving the earth. The earth will adapt. We won't be there. Earth's still going to be here even though we're gone. But man, why you got to look at a trash dump? And make an artificial reef. Make it out of something else. Not this hull of an aircraft carrier down there. Just seems dumb. Just seems dumb. I don't know. Nobody asked me. It's the internet. Everybody has an opinion. Okay, I think, how did we miss one? The bloody N. Panzer III-N. Panzer III. Everybody go to sleep? You guys are busy slaving away on your own projects. Oh, there's only two of you guys. Two yuns. I don't like this snorkel muffler that's on the back of these things, but I didn't get to design them. It's funny how I'd say most tanks are not unattractive, and then you get some that are just like, just due to the way that they're put together, they're just really unattractive. I find them really unattractive. You know, the Porsche Tiger that never made it, the one that ended up being the bottom hull of this one. They made one of them with a turret. It was a command vehicle, and the turret is so far forward, it just looks really out of shape, out of place. Falklands was the only battle to see use of wooden shells. Really, Canopus was. Oh, okay. You said Falklands, and the first thing I thought of is the one in 1982. Okay, Falklands. Canopus, yeah, the block ship. Canopus was loaded with drill practice shells and fired them when von Spey's ships were spotted, causing the German tank to be called off. Yeah, you could probably do an alternative Falklands where you've got Canopus and any light cruisers that were there for the British. But man, as soon as those, is it Invincible and Inflexible? I think that's the two that are there. It is over. I mean, they're faster than Scharnhorst and Gneisenau, and they outrange them. Double whammy, you know. So, yeah. Okay, I don't want to touch these because they're looking good. But I'll touch them anyways. Let's see where I'm not too worried about. Let's do catty corner. Because the corners, we don't need the filter that much. All right. We did a reasonable job of using most of that up. Let's go ahead and use and dry brush the Su-76s in the Soviet green. Greensky Sovietsky. Look at that. Right off the bat, I grabbed the right one. Old Canopus. If I played that somewhere, somebody be calling that cannabis. Probably. Just like we're doing a Jutland game a long time ago, in the real early 90s, maybe 91 or something like that. And this one guy that was in command of it kept calling Von der Tann, he kept calling her Vandekamps, which is a brand of like baked beans or something here in the States. Who is that named after anyways? Von der Tann. See, this is how you go down the Wikipedia rabbit hole. Von der Tann. Ship. Who's this named after? Namesake, Ludwig von der Thurn. Okay, who is he? Bavarian general, okay. Napoleonic. Oh, no, afterwards. He was born in Darmstadt on the day after Waterloo. Okay, so military career. First Schleswig War, Austro-Prussian War, Franco-Prussian War. Okay, I didn't know that. Not exactly an ugly ship. My favorite World War I ship by a mile. It's not even close. Sidelets. Sidelets just looks freaking awesome. It just, I don't know what it is about it. It just looks really, really good. There's a whole conning tower and those funnels. Those funnels with that little shape on them. Really cool looking ship. Okay. Maybe we'll get a soda. Now the bigger question is, what's my second favorite World War I ship? I don't know. I gotta think for a while. I gotta think for a long while. Was the whole shell wooden or was it filled with wood? It's probably all wooden. Solid piece of wood. That would hurt. Wooden shell filled with HE. That would hurt. I'd say Warspite just because of Windy Corner, but Warspite just freaking outclasses everything in the First World War. I mean, it's just like, it's like they're not even playing fair. Show up with 15-inch guns in a World War I battleship. Like, what the hell? It's not a World War I battleship. It's a super dreadnought. That's faster than any German battleship. Old Warspite. Love the way Germans Love the way the Germans named their World War II destroyers after World War I torpedo boat captains before they go back to calling them Z-23 onwards. God, they lost so many in Narvik. They lost like a freaking 10 of them or something like that. Did they really paint all the German torpedo boats in the First World War black? That just looks stupid. You know? I think I had some and I didn't paint them black. I left them the regular color. I said, well, they painted them black if it was for night actions. And since mine aren't going to be for night actions. Another one of those ironies. The most famous U-boat commander in the First World War, meaning known by most people, is the captain of U-9. I can't remember what his name is right now. He's the one that sunk those 3 old British heavy armored cruisers that were running the Channel blockade. Hogue, Abu Qir, and Cressy, if I remember correctly. Boom, boom, boom. Whatever his name is. And he ends up having the distinction of being on the U-boat that was sunk by the battleship. The only U-boat sunk by a battleship ever. He was the commander of the U-boat, went down with it. And that's when it was rammed by Dreadnought. It was a different U-boat. It wasn't U-9. It was a later U-boat. I can't remember what his name is. He's got some long compound type name. Vettingen or something like that. Is it Otto Vettingen or something like that? Yeah, he's the commander of the U-boat. Gets rammed by Dreadnought. Oops. I mean, a U-boat getting rammed by anybody, you're pretty much hosed. I mean, unless it's something really, really small. I mean, like smaller than a destroyer. A destroyer would just it's over with. U-boats, it's over for the U-boat. The U-boat has really thin skin. Now, this dry brush thing, you can't really tell, but you don't really get much on your fingers, even when I'm handling it. This is just a wash that's... Well, this comes right off with the hand sanitizer. Of course, it's in the garage. And then this will end up getting a wash as well. And I would have done all these Panzer Yellow vehicles the same way, but this method doesn't work really well with a black as a base. It takes a lot of dry brushing to get it to stick. I've done it, but it's pretty time intensive. Now, speaking of naming, I like the naming of British ships probably second to none. There's just something about just these adjectivical names, even the British destroyers like Hasty and, I really like them. I like the adjective. Let's just make up our own words, using the adjectives for names of the ships. You gotta wash your. Oh, here. You gotta wash your ass. Oh, let me switch to the other chat and see if I can see your whole thing with a fist bump. You gotta wash your ass. Me as I'm painting my mule train. Mule train? What are you doing? You doing a western? You doing a western out there? Are westerns popular in Britain or anywhere other than the U.S.? It just seems kind of a very niche time period, time area. I was never into westerns. My dad didn't like them, so I didn't watch them. You know, it's a time period that I'm not particularly enamored with. You know, you watch one and you feel like you need a shower because you're so damn dusty. I don't like any of the firearms of that period. You know, they don't do anything for me. Like ACW, I don't like the time period. They had bad hairstyles, really bad facial hair, really bad facial hair. So, the only thing worse now is you got some people that are running around with those floating. I don't see them very often, but those floating sideburns. But you know, way like you need to take hedge clippers to some people's sideburns. Like you're doing some dark age logisticals. Westerns are very popular with the over 50s over here. Hey, keep it down now. Over 50 people. It's funny. When did I turn 50? I don't even remember. I was expecting to feel old. Nope. I'm still a wee child inside. Wee child sounds like somebody that hasn't been potty trained. What's that smell? Oh, it's just the smell of a wee child. I guess that would be a wee child. The over 50s. I think that the over 50s would like the Victorian stuff. You know, Zulu and shit like that. Dark Age Mule Train. Get to see a bunch of villagers and be like, What I miss? Oh man, we just had the caravan of gypsies and whores just came through town. Oh man, I missed that. I said, yeah, but there's a mule train coming in a couple hours. You're still in luck. All right. Over 50s, huh? You'll get there if you're lucky. I've been in my midlife crisis for freaking 10 years now. I never feel old. There's some things I just don't want to do anymore because it's not worth the hassle, but I'm young at heart. This shit keeps you young, man. I think if you're dynamic about it, you just sit around and, ho hum, I'm gonna build another model and, you know, not get excited about the history and shit like that. But I think this keeps you young. Now, while I have this color still out, I'm going to go ahead and tackle something that I've been meaning to do and just didn't have a good time to do it. And it should still be right here. And I don't know where the hatches are, but I'm not going to worry about that right this second. I'm going to paint these 2 kV2 turrets that I've already primered. Don't you live in a village, Ben? Yeah, you told me you live like in a village. And how big is the village? And is it like, I don't know shit about a village. To me, a village, we don't have villages here in the United States. We have, what would I call them? Country ass towns. Are there a bunch of inbred people in a village? Now, there's another name for a village that really doesn't get used here. Just give me a second. I'll think about what it is. Yeah, but that doesn't get used. Like I'm gonna go. Where do you live? I live in a small village. You don't say that here. Country ass town. That has nothing to do in a country ass town. I guess technically I live in a country ass town, but I live 15 minutes away from where I grew up, which has about 150,000 people. And I don't live on a dirt road. And I live in the same town that I work in, so I don't know, it's not very uncivilized. I can't think of what that name is that I'm thinking of. It's another name for a village. It really doesn't get used here in the States. Of course, village doesn't get used either. I can't think of it right now. Typical vocabulary, brain fart. I don't know what I'm going to do with these turrets because I'm out of ideas to freaking name these things. I'm probably just going to have to make up a few. And this is in case I want to run 5 KV2s. I don't know what the hell for, but... don't need much less 5 of them. All right, I'm gonna go get the hand sanitizer. We gotta get rid of this eyesore. I'll be right back. Start doing this a lot, and then I'll take the other one I have out of the car. I bought 2 of these way back when they were on sale, buy one get one free, and I keep one in the car in case you're like pumping petrol and need to clean your hands. Yeah, good as new. Haven't been very motivated to play computer games. Of course, it's been so long since I did one, I have to remember how to freaking do it again. How to stream one. It's not what you guys are here for, but if I'm going to do it, I might as well have somebody to communicate with. That Armored Commander, I'm reading a book right now on Audible, or having one read to me, and it's called Desert Armor, Betafam to Crusader. And so far, so good. Just came out this last year in Audible format. And anytime that I'm like reading something that really happened, I have this urge to want to participate in it. The way you participate in it would be like, go play Armored Commander and play some iTies or something, Do a 1940 campaign with the Italians in the desert. You get stuck in an M1139 and see if you can, how far you can go before you encounter your first Matilda. It's over with. God, he just can't deal with a Matilda. Matilda's just a monster. A beast. A beast. Okay, we brought in the Dunkelgelb Mid-War. That's what we're going to dry brush over these. Once they're fully dry. Stoogie's the first one we did, and she's still wet. So that's not going to work great. We may have to wait a little while for that to happen. Let me see. Let's see what the weather's doing. It's supposed to be rainy, but not like heavy rain. Supposed to get up to 74. It's 64 right now. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to wait on this to do it. We want to make sure it's completely wet, completely dry before we go and tamper with that. But I think this is where we're going to stop. If we want to do that on that stage, I'm going to probably end up doing just the stug, dry brushing the stug in this. And then once that's dry brush, go out and do some camouflage patterns for it. And just to make sure that's the order. I don't want to jump and do the Panzer IIIs and be unhappy with them. So, I know the Brumbar, I'm probably going to do only the brown camouflage on it. We're going to do brown squigglies on it. The two Panthers will be probably 3-color. Or just green. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the Panzer IIIs. Probably 3-color. Probably do the M a little different. But these two definitely part of one unit. Do the same numbering system. So, okay, folks. Well, thanks for stopping by. And we'll see you guys on the next one when this stuff is dried a little bit.